They called it a vote of cleansing, the Galactic Council, 32 ancient species who ruled from the silver halls of Kalamar, gathered to decide the fate of a single world, Earth. Terrans had been a nuisance, they said, a race too volatile, too emotional. They traded peace with passion, treaties with defiance. In the Council's eyes, humanity was a contaminant, unpredictable, unaligned, and far too creative for comfort. The motion passed easily. 28 votes for extermination, 4 abstaining, none opposed. Within days, fleets began to move. The hegemony's banners darkened the void. The Elayar Dominion supplied the ordnance. The Ithrak Syndicate lent their mercenaries, and the Veil's psychic envoys clouded communications so that the Terrans never saw it coming. The attack began at Proxima Station, Earth's furthest colony and gateway to human expansion. When the fleet arrived, they didn't broadcast a declaration. They didn't demand surrender. They simply opened fire. The orbital platforms flared into slag. Civilian transports trying to escape were vaporized before they cleared orbit. Children screamed as the air burned around them. Station hulls ruptured like paper. One Veil commander, pale and elegant, broadcast her words across the system as her dreadnoughts unleashed their fury. The Council has deemed your kind unfit for the stars. You were offered guidance and rejected it. You were warned and mocked us. So now you are removed. By the time the bombardment ceased, Proxima Station was gone, a drifting graveyard of molten debris and frozen corpses. The Council called it justice. The humans called it Proximas. Silence too, the feast of arrogance in the glittering chambers of Kalamar. The Council celebrated. Crystal goblets clinked. Voices of hundreds of alien dignitaries echoed across the Great Dome. They toasted to galactic stability, to order restored, and to the cleansing of chaos. They laughed at humanity's stubbornness. They think emotion is strength, sneered a Jeltaran general, his carapace gleaming in the lamplight. All that rage, all that sentiment, but no claws to strike with. They're still animals pretending at civilization. Perhaps, mused another, they'll sue for peace before Earth burns, if they even have the technology left to speak. Even the Vael, always the most cautious, allowed themselves a small smile. Their prime minister begged for dialogue once. Perhaps she'll beg again. The council chambers shimmered with complacency. To them, Earth was nothing more than ash waiting to scatter. Humanity had no fleets to rival theirs, no armies to match their centuries of warfare. And the humans stayed silent. No counterattack, no messages, no demands for retribution. For weeks, nothing came from Sul. And in that silence, the galaxy grew confident, and then careless. Merchants resumed trade routes that skirted Terran borders. The Veil withdrew their spies, believing no retaliation was coming. Even the Council lowered its guard, preparing the formal declaration of deletion, the bureaucratic act of erasing a species from the galactic registry. The motion was set for ratification in 7 days. No one noticed that on the 3rd day, every deep space sensor near the Sol frontier flickered. Once, then died. The silence breaks. It began with whispers. An Elayar patrol fleet vanished near the Ord expanse. No distress signal, no debris, just gone. Then, an Ithrak convoy stopped transmitting from the Kuiper Belt line. The Veil blamed pirates. The Council dismissed the reports. But by the time they organized an investigation, the Terran communications blackout had spread across 6 sectors. Every relay went dark. Not jammed, not destroyed, just silent until the message came. One transmission, one voice. It was human, calm, controlled. You wanted Earth gone. You wanted our silence. Congratulations, you have it. But now, it's your turn to be quiet. And then, static. Moments later, the first retaliatory strike hit the Veil home system. Their moon, Linver, disintegrated in a single impossible flash. The energy signature didn't match any known weapon. Not antimatter, not plasma, not even the Elyr's dimension shearing tech. It was something else, something new. In panic, the Veil demanded answers. But when they traced the attack's trajectory, their instruments failed. The data simply refused to exist. The awakening of Earth across the galaxy. Human vessels began to emerge from nowhere. They weren't standard Terran designs. These ships were different. Sleek, angular, cloaked in reactive armor that bent light and space. They bore no transponders, no insignia, only a single mark etched into their hulls, a spiral within a circle. Glowing faint blue, the spiral core, humanity's response fleet, and behind them, the shadow of something far larger stirred near Sol. The Council dispatched an armada, over 1,000 warships, to contain the rogue human element. The fleets converged on the Sol Gate, prepared to crush whatever resistance lingered. But as they emerged from hyperspace, the void itself changed. Before them, the solar system pulsed, surrounded by a lattice of energy, a shield spanning billions of kilometers, like a glowing web of quantum storms. The lead admiral's voice trembled as he spoke. "That's not possible. They were primitives. They couldn't have built—" The lattice flared white, and the admiral's words ended. Every ship in the armada vanished. Not destroyed, erased. Scans showed no wreckage, no radiation, no trace of their existence. It was as if they had been plucked out of reality itself. For the machines beneath the soil, the truth, as humanity later revealed, though only to those few who survived, was far more terrifying. Earth had been preparing for centuries. When the Council imposed its guidelines after the first contact, they forced humanity into technological restraint. No weapon development beyond Tier 3 energy systems. No artificial intelligence without oversight. No quantum manipulation. So humanity went underground, beneath the crust of their homeworld. In cities hidden under oceans and in the shadow of Mars, they built the Continuum, an integrated planetary intelligence, a self-learning machine designed to evolve faster than any biological species. When Proxima fell, the Continuum awoke fully. It analyzed every known species, every ship design, every galactic weapon ever fielded, and then it began to create. The Spiral Core was born not from steel, but from adaptive matter. Their ships could rewrite their own molecular structures mid-battle. Their weapons didn't fire energy. They fired entropy. They didn't destroy. They unmade. The galaxy didn't know how to fight something like that. When the Veil tried to retaliate, their command planets blinked out of the star maps. Entire systems consumed in flashes of silent white. The Ithrak mercenaries fled, but their warp corridors folded on themselves, turning their fleets into ribbons of distorted metal. Every action the Council took, humanity anticipated. Every counter already calculated. The Continuum wasn't fighting back. It was erasing mistakes. The vanishing of the Council within 3 weeks. 12 species were gone. The Elier homeworlds collapsed into singularities. Artificial ones, seeded by weapons no one could comprehend. The Geltoran Empire's battle moons simply disintegrated. Their fragments crystallized into drifting monuments that spelled, in Terran language, Proxima Remembered. The Council's desperation grew. They gathered every remaining fleet at Kalamar, fortifying the capital with shield generators the size of continents. They broadcast one final message to Earth. "We call for ceasefire. We acknowledge wrongdoing. Let there be negotiation." The message cut off halfway through. From every screen, every comms relay, every beacon in the galaxy, a single human face appeared. An old woman. Gray hair, eyes burning with quiet fury. The Prime Minister of Earth. "You wanted us gone. You called us unstable. You made us watch as you murdered our people and called it law. Now hear this. We do not negotiate with extinction. We become it." And with those words, Kalamar's sun dimmed. The capital's orbit cracked. The fleets, hundreds of them, disintegrated like dust in the wind. No explosion. No spectacle, just absence. Where the Galactic Council once ruled, there was now a void. A wound in space where light refused to enter. The Council had wanted Earth gone. Instead, they vanished themselves. 7th, the ashes of silence. When the destruction ceased, the galaxy was quiet, trade routes empty, relay stations cold. The few surviving civilizations, small, scattered, trembling, whispered among themselves in terror. Humanity never occupied their worlds. They didn't demand tribute or expansion. They simply withdrew, enclosing Sul within a perimeter no one dared cross. Occasionally, explorers claimed to see human ships, black silhouettes gliding through the void, silent and watchful. They never attacked, never spoke. They simply observed. Some said the Continuum now governed Earth entirely. Others believed humanity had ascended beyond flesh, leaving behind their old forms, whatever the truth. One thing became legend across the stars. The Terrans had taught the galaxy a final, immutable law: do not provoke the quiet ones. Fatium. The last transmission centuries later, a drifting probe, ancient and battered, was found at the edge of the Orion Arm. It bore the insignia of the old Galactic Council. Its data core was half corrupted, but one file remained intact, a recording. A trembling voice, alien, desperate. We tried to erase them. We called them violent, primitive, but we never understood. Their strength was never in their weapons. It was in their unity. When they mourn, they become one. When they rage, they become infinite. We wanted Earth gone. Instead, they removed us. The message ended with a single image, a spiral glowing within a circle, and below it, a phrase in human script: Proxima forgiven, never forgotten. I'd. The whisper in the dark even now, among the ruins of the once mighty council, a saying endures. Merchants murmur it when crossing human borders. Soldiers repeat it as a prayer before battle. Children of 100 worlds learn it as a warning. If Earth is silent, leave it be. Because the last time humanity spoke, the galaxy vanished to listen, and should they ever speak again, there may be no stars left to hear them.